What is going on, Movie Meals? Movie Meals. We had every intention to have an episode next week, or last week, but I got food poisoning.
I bet
We
it wasn't
were
pretty.
we were supposed to film in the morning, and we both just kind of one of us was moving slow, or something happened, and we were like, "Hey, let's just push it to tonight." And then I was like, "Man, I'm really not feeling good. Let's do it Monday." And then I was really not feeling good Monday after the fact either. So we just were like, let's just do it this week and have an episode for next week. So hey, we talk about it all the time. We are trying.
Yep. But if you want to sign up for our Patreon, you can see Alex having food poisoning coming out of both ends. Links
Big
down below.
facts.
Give us some money
Big
for
facts.
that. It's that extra bonus content that
Yeah.
we're trying.
You can pay. This is gross. You can actually pay extra on the Patreon, and we use one of those colonoscopy cameras, and you can come be a part of the show.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Anyway, thank you.
It's just a little treat to you guys.
All the good stuff. I get some water here.
Poor guy's dying.
Yep. Christmas around the corner. It's true. Woke up a little cold. It's cold here, walking around. Gonna be in the cold more after this. But anyway, let's get into some movie stuff. So, or television, I guess is the first subject here. On the notes, it looks like Cobra Kai. Kyle and I finished part 8,000 of the final season because Netflix just quietly it has admitted, I guess, that releasing everything all at once is just an absolute mistake because people forget about your show, whether it's good or bad. I think The Witcher is the prime. I think The Witcher season 2 is exactly what made them be like, we can't do this anymore. Because The Witcher was so big, and it, even though it did numbers, came and went over a holiday season so fast. And they're like, we got to have somewhat of a narrative a month later, 2 months later. So we're just going to split our seasons into parts and act like that is some... I bet somebody got a couple $1 million bonus to come up with that brilliant idea. It's dumb. I want either give it all to me at once or just give everything weekly so I could be enjoying the rest of the show. But anyway, Cobra Kai, big fan. I love it. It's always been what it's always been. Every now and then it gets to a point where I'm like, oh man, we're going to bad CW vibes, and it's like, it only to me it doesn't. It is great CW kind of vibes. It's always been that way, and then every now and then you have a moment where you're like, come on, like you say it out loud. You're like, all right, come on. And that happened at the end of this season to me. I guess all spoilers if you haven't seen it. It's been out for a while. But when the guy just punches the head of the
dojo competition,
I'm remembering how to say the name.
It's all right. Just call it the Worldwide Karate Tournament.
Because I'm just struggling today. I had a hard time saying another word earlier, but. Yeah, when he just hits him and then it's all bets are off and the masters are fighting, it's like, come on. Come on. But it's the same thing back in like season 2 or 3 when the big high school has the massive brawl and the teachers are...
That was for the plot. That worked for the story. That was what we were leading up to. This was
but there's always a moment where you're like, come on. But I do remember you and I talking about, because I think that came out at a very similar time to when 13 Reasons Why was ending, and you and I used to have fun, hate watching that show.
Right.
And they had like a fight in their school, like a bunch of people got in a huge brawl, and then the teachers started fighting, and in that show it didn't work because that's bad CW style teeny vibes, and Cobra Kai 98% of the time is great. That vibe. It knows exactly what it is. It's following that. It's only a 2% time where it's like, come on.
It has a charm to it that I would say is the majority of the show, and is what the tone of the show does well and should be. And then it does, as much as I have slowly been tapering off of this show more so than you have, even I would agree, like, that good parts of the tone that you're describing is what makes the show, while the lesser of that is not very much, but even still, it's just becoming more and more evident, especially with that finale fight, which of this season. Which, by the way, I wanted to bring up. I thought that this was it. That these last few episodes were going to be the finale of the show. I did not know there was a part 3 that was coming out.
Didn't either. I always thought it was going to be a 2-parter, and this is why Netflix annoys me, because they quietly were like, no, it's a 3-parter, actually.
Well, halfway through this fight, I was like, this is taking a long time, and this is the last episode. How is everything going to get wrapped up? And then when...
I had the same thought. I looked, I was like, there's 8 minutes left. Yeah. Technically, I guess it's suicide.
Yeah, by a technicality, I guess, but when that happens, like, the bad guy, like, lands on the knife and then dies on ESPN3, whatever channel they're airing this karate competition on. That's where I was like, oh, there's supposed to be more to the story, which I don't know how they are going to, like, keep this going, because I felt this for a while with the show, admittedly, that it's time for it to end, but they just keep finding a way to keep the story stretching out, man. I don't know. It's wild that they find a way. I don't know.
But again, because they are separating what is just one season into 3 parts, it feels like they're stretching it. If we had the last 4 episodes, which it'll probably be right now, I don't think it's as daunting of a feeling to be like, man, they're still, like, you would just be like, all right, next episode, how do we recover from him stabbing himself? I actually think that is what makes Cobra Kai good, that they will still do stuff like that. Like, the fact that they actually had somebody dies, I think is great, because I think it's a little bit more mature for a show that can be very weirdly immature a lot of the times, and like feels that way, and it's like about karate.
I guess.
I think ending it with him accidentally killing himself, it made what was like kind of a dorky fight that feels wrong feel better at the end of the day.
I guess that's true, because even I was like, oh shit.
Even I was like,
I did not see that
because you don't think that they're gonna go there, because you've spent the last 10 minutes watching a bad CW fight, and it ends and you're like, oh, this is where we get the good CW ideas.
Well, I also say I didn't see him accidentally killing himself coming. I guess we should say the character's name. I'm trying to go through the character list now to see which guy it was, but I'm just spacing on the name.
It's the Cobra Kai
kid. But at the same time, one of the Cobra Kai kids, yeah. But even before that, there's an episode where the Karate Kid himself, Dale, gets kidnapped and gets put into like a dog cage, just in the middle of an episode. And I'm like, I never in my life would I see this, and then the Karate Kid logo comes up, or the Cobra Kai. It's just like, what reality? It's one of those moments where I'm like, what reality am I living in where this is happening? Like, we had 4 of these movies. Dale wasn't even in the 4th one, and now he's trapped in a cage. It's like,
and you know what,
man?
Those movies, like 3, starts to get cheesy. This same vibe we feel, and 4 especially is. 2 is awesome. 2 is awesome. Good. 2 is really good.
Yeah.
1 is obviously an all-time phenomenal film. But
granted, both of those still have like their 80s cheese, those first 2 movies, but it's done in like the 80s way to where there's some balance.
It's good
between
80s.
Like, yeah, it's good 80s. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's not Roadhouse.
Anyway,
like bad fun 80s. You know what I mean?
Which I just saw, and I don't know, it's incredible. In a bad way.
I can't believe. Yeah, I was going to say, you can't actually think it's incredible, because God forbid Kyle has fun with a dumb movie once in a while. I'm shocked. I thought you were going to hate it.
No,
Roadhouse is awesome.
Movie ruled.
I know.
It ruled. Yeah.
Watch the new one, and you're going to be like, ooh.
I am curious about the new one, just because, like, I bet it has more of a story to it compared to this first one.
Tries to.
But anyway, Alex, you wanted to keep going about the 80s cheese of the 3rd movie.
No, I'm going to skip. Hey, spoilers for Cobra Kai. I'm telling you right now, the guy that Daniel is still trying to find that knows Mr. Miyagi is 100% going to be Jackie Chan. It's got to be. That's how you're connecting this movie.
Yeah. I bet it ties in with the movie. Yeah,
and
absolutely right.
I can't tell you, Kyle, how badly I want it. And I hate the Jaden Smith movie with a passion, but this is my Ant-Man going giant man for Kyle back in the day.
Yeah,
I
get it.
want it every episode. When Daniel was on his little side quest, I was like, if Jackie Chan doesn't come around the corner, I'm gonna be so mad, and he never did. And I just want Jackie Chan to come around the corner and be like, tell us some story about how he fought Mr. Miyagi, and like he was
better
a
than
friend
me.
of his. Yeah, I just can't wait. Oh,
like a
man.
Rocky, was it Rocky 3, Rocky 4, where enemies become friends or something like that? Which, by the way, there is a lot of Mr. Miyagi like hinting at backstory stuff going on in this.
They did Mr. Miyagi CGI
season. I didn't like it.
I didn't either.
I think that's pushing it.
And
I'm okay if you do like a younger actor and it still is like a dream thing. That's fine. You can do that. The CGI thing, I mean, no matter like what the quality is, even if it was like a movie quality versus a TV quality, it just left a bad taste.
And I'm sure his estate, his family said yes. I mean, Netflix probably came and said, "Here's $1 million. Let us do it for 2 seconds." But it didn't look good. That de-age tech doesn't look good. It just doesn't.
It's starting to not look good anymore. No, I think it's becoming more and more noticeable.
Yeah.
And for me personally, like I get it, whether if the family does it for money reasons or because like they think it is like a good homage and they just get.
And if it meant something to them, great. But didn't look good to us.
But for me personally, it's just another layer of just. I don't know. It just feels icky to me. I just would rather have an actor be able to do it rather than have a computer doing stuff like that now.
And I liked the Luke Skywalker one in the second half of at the end of Mandalorian season 2, but that's because they found an actor that looked a bit like a young Mark Hamill, had a lot of similar facial structure features and things like that, and they had Mark actually do the scene, they had the actor actually do the scene, and then they overlaid some of the CGI and de-age tech, but they really just overlaid the faces and then did some. They used it as a tool instead of the main thing. It looked like they used it as the entire. They were like, let's just de-age his face. They probably didn't even put him in old man makeup a little bit, try to make it look a little better.
Well, what do you think about them exploring the his backstory in general? Because I'm not feeling it myself. Like I guess for me, it's not like I'm so closely tied to the Karate Kid franchise as you are, even though I like the first 2 movies. But I never once have wanted to know. Love them still, just not as much as you. I just didn't grow up with them as much. Let's get the record straight. But I just have never one that was like, I have to know what he was like as a 20-year-old. I just liked him as being, and I thought the first movie also just does a great job at explaining why he is like this quiet, humble person, because we get hints of his backstory of him being in the war, of his life growing up.
And they go more into it in the second Karate
like his
Kid.
family, like his family's death, and mourning their loss. And
they really jump into his life a lot more at the end of in the second movie. They really jump into his life a lot more. And
that personally was enough for me. And I don't know. They're just kind of pushing it with like Daniel just freaking out that he had more to his life than what he knew, which granted, I guess like for a father figure, you do want to know like your father figure after, he passes away, if you weren't able to have that chance to know more of him. But I don't know, even still,
here's what I think about it. One, that makes total sense with you. You think that about every piece of media that does this at all. You absolutely hate it.
Why are we asking questions?
Yeah,
that's my thing.
I actually think, I like that they are kind of dipping their toe back into his history. I mean, they're really not doing much. What they have learned is that he was a part of a dojo, like an old style, like ancient dojo with a lot of history behind it. And he eventually learns that Mr. Miyagi fought at this tournament and was DQ'd because he killed his opponent. That's what we have learned. That's it.
Which was probably an accident.
What I think is rubbed the wrong way is I think they've made him too obsessed, because Daniel's thing was that he rarely got too over the top, And I think if he was just like when he is just talking, like when he was just talking to people and he's like, this was my sensei's. Do you know anything about it? That's all perfect. It's when he's like, he gets the envelope and he's like, I have to abandon it. Like that didn't feel like Daniel LaRusso to me,
Abandoned
who would leave the kids.
Yeah.
And, for this thing for Mr. Miyagi. I feel like if it was just like, let me do this, then I'll go get caught in the dog cage. That's fine. But I think I really don't think they have dipped much at all into anything about Mr. Miyagi. I mean, we know most we need to know.
No,
but I can understand Mr. Miyagi as a kid. He was probably in his teens when this fight took place. So,
yeah.
I mean, they're all teenagers. So he probably just was a teen and was like, this happened and just never spoke about it. I mean, he did the same thing in the first Karate Kid. He didn't tell Daniel anything. In the second Karate Kid, he doesn't tell Daniel anything. In the third Karate Kid, he probably didn't tell Daniel anything that I remember. And then in the fourth Karate Kid, he abandoned Daniel. So,
yeah.
Daniel left for college or something in the fourth one, and he stayed and taught another Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank. What could have been? Who knows if she could have been the next Karate Kid? She needed more time. Well, you're probably right. It was in the title, wasn't it? But I'm with Johnny, man. Like Johnny, I've liked the balance between Johnny and Daniel and their relationship, obviously. But again, it's that stretching thin of like they just keep yelling at each other about the same thing and about my way's better, my way's not. Oh my god!
No, that's
my sensei was amazing, and
I'm with you. I am with you. These themes have come to the end, but I mean, they need to end the show. I mean, the show is ended.
It's time.
We just they haven't uploaded the episodes. Is it? The show's over. We just haven't seen it. All the kids are done. It's just because Netflix needs to make another buck. If Netflix was back on their original platform, the Cobra Kai would have been done a year ago when the first half of this season came out. So it's just
I don't want to be all complain about this because I do want to mention because I thought this finale. Or I thought this last few episodes was the finale. I really liked the locker room scene with the 6 kids being like,
"Oh, it's great,
guys! This is it. Like, this is like we're about to leave soon, whether it's for college or whatever. Like, we got it. We're gonna do this thing. We're gonna win." And I'm like,
"Oh man,
yes! Like finale. This feels important and
it
real.
Was and I so feel good."
And then it's not the finale, and I'm like, dang! I wish that didn't happen then in that case. I wish that episode happened later.
But no, again, Kyle, if the episode drops the next day and you're releasing these next week, you're sitting there going, I can't wait to see how this continues. But it's just because Netflix's releases are horrifically bad. It completely I agree with you that you were like, oh, so we don't get the resolution. It's because we don't get the resolution. It's a great scene. And it's so good because the actors are saying it. They're like, we're done. The show that has put us on the map to get bigger things, is ending, and they've become good friends. And like all this, like, and anybody who's ever been on a high school team at all in anything, you relate to that even today. Like I was like, man, I remember sitting with my friends going like, this is it. Like we've come to the end of the road here on this stuff we've been doing. Like everybody has that moment. So pretty much. So it's great. Anyway, all right, let's move off Cobra Kai. Love Cobra Kai.
By the way, Terry Silver reveal. You enjoyed that, right? His comeback.
Oh
yeah.
When Terry Silver's around the corner in a hot tub, I'm always ready to go. Are you kidding me?
I can't believe I didn't see it coming.
I didn't either. I just wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah, true.
Next up is on our notes, Jeremy Allen White in a Star Wars role. Apparently is voicing Fett. Great. Don't care. I don't know why. This is a non-story to me. Fans were freaking out. Make him a Jedi would be cool too. Put him somewhere else. Got Jeremy Allen White in James Mangold's first Jedi story would be great.
I mean, he would have been that or a bounty hunter. Like, honestly,
he'd be a great bounty hunter. I love that.
Yeah, the last thing I wanted was for him to be a Hutt. Like, but
it's just a voice role.
Yeah, I mean, good for him. He's getting the paycheck. He can work on other projects. It takes a day to record. Yada yada.
I bet you his agent was sitting there, and he's like, there's this role I got at the agency. You want to do it? Like they were just joking at lunch, having a couple drinks, and he was like, "Let's do it. I'll be a Fett."
Sure.
I
mean,
or
most people don't say no to Star Wars, and especially for a voiceover role, like you should take that.
Well, like even I mean, he's not at the same caliber, even though he's a great actor. But now I can't even. Who's Barry? Why can't I think of his name? Barry, our boy, our comedian boy.
Bill Hader.
Bill Hader, like he does the voice of BB-8,
right?
Like when someone calls and says, "Hey, you want to do a Star Wars role in the Star Wars movie?" It's kind of a little fun. Like it's a friend. It's like the friend's directing. It's like, "Hey, Jeremy, I just say, hey, you want to come do it?" Like it's just maybe the director just saw him and they were chatting, and he's like, "You want to do it?" And he's like, "Sure." Like that's all.
Directing that, right? Or is that Filoni?
Is this for Mandalorian and Grogu movie?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Favreau. Yeah, no, it's Favreau. Okay. Favreau is directing it, produced with Filoni. I mean, Filoni's there. Filoni's always floating around.
Yeah. Take that as you will.
Yeah. Before we get to Kyle's DC rant, let's rant about Marvel. So, Hollywood Reporter says Chris Evans is back, huh?
Yeah. For the next Avengers movie, and Jeff Snyder is saying that it's supposed to be for the Nomad role.
The Nomad role, really?
Right.
I didn't see that. What's that? Who is Nomad?
Nomad is still Captain America, but it's like at a point where he removes himself from like the America moniker and does like his own rebel without a cause type of thing. I suppose you can label it as like he's a man without a country. It's kind of an arc like that was happening in the comics. I kind of remember that name being floated around for like Avengers Infinity War when he was kind of doing the similar thing, or at least the general gist was that he was kind of a man without a country.
Yeah, that is exactly what it was.
So I imagine it's going to be like this, but if Tony Stark is now evil in this upcoming movie, maybe Chris Evans is like an evil version of that. I don't know, but
it has to be that this is just because I think we all kind of have mentally just assumed that Doctor Doom is not, because they said that the Fantastic Four is not of our universe. It's a different universe as Fantastic Four, right? And that they're what's probably going to happen is they're going to converge and it'll become one new universe. And then we can have the Fantastic Four in ours with the X-Men, or there'll be an easy way to travel. It's probably just their version of Captain America. And it's probably a bit role, or he's going to manipulate him to go against, like, I think they are really trying to set up this idea that these newer Avengers have to now fight all these people that look like those that they loved and cared for so much that are no longer around. That's really what they're doing. And that probably is going to be a very compelling storyline. I think watching it, that can work great. It just is really, Marvel has really just become like McDonald's today. Like it was this cool revolutionary idea, and now it's just, I like their Egg McMuffins.
Here's your slop.
Nugs are all right. Yeah, and it's like here, we've become the very thing we were not before. We were something unique. We were different. They were a TV show that is way like overstayed their welcome for the most part, and the things that do work. I mean, I haven't watched Agatha. I had no interest, but the fact that it apparently is so different, people loved it. It's apparently really, really good. I have been wanting to watch it because, like, I've heard it's so different. Like, I like Eternals because Eternals is different. Like, that's why I liked it so much. It was a different take on the Marvel Universe. We weren't doing 1,000 cameos, and it is time for them to get to that. It's just blatantly time for them to really drop all of these characters and just start something. I mean, you don't have to start over like DC is, but you need to let go of some of these actors.
I wonder if the letting go will be after these two Avengers movies, and then we will just go into the era of X-Men and Fantastic Four.
I think we have to.
I don't know what that means though for everything else. Like maybe no Shang-Chi 2, maybe no Black Panther 3.
Oh man, that's such a bummer. Denzel was just
Spider-Man
walking around.
Gets rebooted after that.
Denzel was just walking around press tours for Gladiator saying he just outed himself. He's like, "Oh yeah, Ryan wrote me a role, man. I'm in. I'm in, baby." I love Denzel, man. How good's Gladiator 2 though? That's a
It's
movie
fun,
I've
man.
gushed about on here. What are you talking about? We got all these other
Actually, yeah, I don't
movie
think we-
reviews on you, this notes you made that I don't need to hear about your Emily Perez review. I need to hear about thoughts on Gladiator and all these muscular
talk
men
about-
walking around.
Do you want to talk about Gladiator now then? If we're done with the Marvel talk?
I think we just reviewed it. Gladiator freaking hits, man.
Yeah, it's good. I wouldn't say it reaches the heights of the first one, but it has its good moments. And I think the fight scenes were a lot of fun too. So
I think the fight scenes are better than in the first one.
Ooh.
I think
That's a
now.
take.
Let me. No, it's not. Hear me out. Hear me out.
Huh.
I think there is no fight scene in Gladiator 2 better than the fight scene in Gladiator at the very beginning of Gladiator 1. I don't think any of the ones in 2 match how great the first battle is in Gladiator. But I think all the battles in Gladiator 2 all are better than all the other fights in Gladiator 1. Like, I think the boat fight, like, I would rank, out of the 2 movies, I would rank my favorite fight, the opener of Gladiator 1, and then I think the boat one is my second one.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Autumn came with me to watch it, fell asleep for part of it, and she was like, I didn't want to. I really wanted to watch it. She woke up, she goes, oh my gosh, they're on boats? She woke up like halfway through that battle. She's like, what's going on? Did they flood the Coliseum?
Go back.
Oh, man.
Paul Mescal's great. I thought he did a really good job in this role.
Paul Mescal? Yeah. Oh, man. He is something.
I get it more now.
Have you seen his Wicked advertisement for this, where he's like singing the Defying Gravity song in the Gladiator stuff? Oh, it's so funny. And he can sing, man. He is so good. This is how you do this story right, because everyone rolls their eyes when you hear, oh, we're going to take this beloved movie from the early 2000s and we're just going to tell the story of a son. And it's like, no, here, we did it right. I know, Kyle, but Kyle loved it. Hey, did they get too far into Maximus here? Did they touch too much on his backstory?
No.
Kyle, did they reveal the secrets? No. Okay.
Well, I mean, kind of.
Too many.
But...
Oh, they did. Oh, I loved it. I thought it was Gladiator 2 hits.
It's the
same feeling as when you leave the gym and you haven't worked out hard in a while, and you worked out real hard and you just feel good. You're like, man, this is just awesome.
That
anyway,
kicks in.
So we have DC rants from Kyle. He hates Superman so much that there's a rumor the trailer might come out next week. So that's what the rant's about, I think. Right? What's going on, bud? What's going on?
No, if that rumor is true, then hopefully we can do a trailer reaction for it, because we were just talking about that. That would be a lot of fun to do. So to our viewers, keep an eye out for a trailer reaction, possibly. But no, I just have been seeing a lot of like smaller projects being sprinkled around related to DC that just feel like overkill, such as the Clayface movie being announced with Mike Flanagan writing it, this possible Sergeant Rock movie with Luca Guadagnino directing and Daniel Craig possibly starring in.
Did you just say a name of a character? Who is
Sergeant
Ludwig? What is Ludwig making?
A Sergeant Rock movie.
Who is Sergeant Rock?
Exactly, Al. That's coming to my point. Anyway, he's like a war.
Is he an actual
character.
Rock?
No, not that I'm aware of. Pretty sure.
And Ludwig's going to direct it?
Luca Guadagnino, but
that movie is definitely going to be about an actual Rock coming into like his own.
Maybe.
Like,
it's Elseworlds, baby. We can do whatever we want.
Isn't he making the movie? Didn't he just come out with? Didn't he make Queer with Daniel Craig? Is that him? Yeah, I want to see that.
It does look good. Yeah,
it looks really good. I've heard good things, but
like
plus, that's got to be about an actual Rock, like doing something. Like maybe I don't know. What else did he make? Was he Challengers?
He directed Challengers. He didn't write it. But great movie still.
I'm in.
Luca's great.
No, I'm in on this Rock tennis sexual journey we're about to go on. I think this is great.
Alex is good.
And actually, Clayface, I think DC. Look, I got more interest in Marvel, and even my Marvel love is dipped hard.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, do I not care about the DC stuff not named Batman. To be honest, I'm so upset we're getting other stuff. All I want is Batman. But
you are getting to my point.
But hang on, I don't want to pop off Clayface yet.
You know what?
That's fine. Flanagan doing it moves the needle, and if you don't agree, you're not watching enough Mike Flanagan.
Right.
Okay, because
there hasn't
Mike
been a director for it. He's right.
Awesome, and maybe that's because they're trying to get him to do it because he's supposed to be doing a big project. He's remaking like a classic horror movie or doing a horror sequel.
Yeah, it might be Exorcist.
I think you're exactly right. I think it is Exorcist. And he oh man, Haunting at Hill House. Oh my gosh, is it so good. Mm-hmm. His Dr. Sleep is great. Like Mike Flanagan knows horror. If James Gunn went to Mike Flanagan and said, "Hey, write a Clayface movie, make it Mike Flanagan," I will buy an advance ticket to that. Are you kidding me? Because that's just a monster movie. That's all it is. That sounds awesome.
I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Probably won't be that, but
I mean, one could hope, but
he'll write it. He'll go to some B-list director who will just absolutely destroy that script and rewrite half of it and make it just some CGI slugfest like Craven.
Yeah, that's a worry of mine too.
But anyway, you have a rant about Batman?
No, just about what they're announcing in general. Look, I do appreciate that Gunn and Safran are trying to find interesting directors, like auteur-like directors, to do different like comic book genre type stuff, such as these projects they're announcing. But I am just such a simpleton that I just want to hear that a new Wonder Woman movie is coming, that a new Flash movie is coming.
No,
I am not asking. I'm not asking for a Clayface movie. And look, it could be
but
good
wait a minute.
If it actually happens.
You want them to go to a convention and do the big Marvel spiel? Here's the next 2 decades of movies. We're going to do Flash, Wonder Woman. You want all these green lights, Kyle?
Because this is exactly what they're doing already. They put in a release date for Clayface for 2026, and for this movie called Dynamic Duos, which is supposed to be an anime movie, they announced a release date for it in 2028.
Love a good anime movie.
I don't need that. I don't need them to do that. I just want them to be patient and see how Superman turns out. And I hope Superman is good. I still have hopes for that movie. But I am just, maybe it's just me growing up in like the 2000s where like it was awesome that we got a new Batman movie and that was it. But I just am ready to see like these A-list heroes be brought back. Like that's just what I'm looking for. I don't need a Sergeant Rock movie. And I don't think many other people, and many other people aren't either. And I get it. What if it's good? If it becomes good, if this movie actually happens, great. Like, great. Then someone gets that movie, whatever. But I just think that it's a little premature to be looking at these types of projects versus thinking about like the bigger ones and the ones that are going to get them more appeal and the more excitement. So that way later down the road, you can do smaller projects. That's all I'm saying. Like, I am just getting a little sick of hearing about these side projects when I'm just ready for the Superman movie. So that's really all I'm getting at.
It's really funny because I was laughing because you talked about how they're getting all these auteurs to make this stuff and you just want Wonder Woman. And that's the exact problem we're having now at Marvel. They have stopped letting the auteurs come in who've made great small independent projects and play in the sandbox. They've stopped doing it after Chloe Zhao got her chance. They've completely stopped and they go right back to just giving out Iron Man. That is so funny because that is the exact point that you don't like about Marvel, but you want it for DC. That's crazy.
I just think because they're at a different place, but I'm also not saying like don't have auteurs make a Wonder Woman movie. Like if one of these guys wants to do it, great. It probably wouldn't be a good choice, but I'm just saying like I
get what you're saying.
Yeah, I just don't need for these DC projects if they really want to do this whole thing. Just start with a layup, you know, I don't know. Am I crazy here? Because like, I just don't get excited for like a Clayface movie. Even if my friend gets writing it,
I don't either. But I think, I think when you look at it from, I think that perspective, and I think makes sense, but that perspective, you look at it from James Gunn went to Mike Flanagan and Luca and said, hey, you guys have any interest in this movie, when it could have been the other way around, and it could have been a very Jon Favreau style Mandalorian, where Jon came into a meeting and said, hey, I actually have this idea. I've written a spec script just out of fun, or, I've written, 20 pages of something that I think would be really cool. You want to take a read at it? I'd appreciate it, because these guys are higher up, Mike Flanagan and whatnot. These guys are higher up now at these studios. So and it could just be that they had lunch with Gunn and they're talking about it and they're passionate about it. And they're like, hey, let me write this. And if you look at it from that perspective, it makes it a little more interesting because, if you just said Mike Flanagan is writing a monster swamp movie, doing something like an old school Frankenstein style movie,
right?
But he might not direct. If that's the news that comes out, you go, that sounds cool. I love Mike Flanagan. Like, that sounds great. If Luca's going to make a movie about a rock on its sexual journey, I'm buying a ticket to that right now because all he puts out is bangers, except for the one I don't like. But, yeah. Anyway, it's an interesting conversation. I think DC, I do think they should do full early Marvel. And the thing that actually annoys me the most is the fact that there's supposed to be all these other heroes in Superman. And that, like, the Justice League is... Didn't he say the Justice League is, like, already established in this universe or something?
The vibe I get is that it's kind of a Justice League International type roster to where it's not, like, A-list superheroes, but it's, like, the B-tier type heroes. And they probably are working for, like, the government, or, like, a government official that is done for, like, a publicity stunt and not for doing it for, like, the most moral of reasons. That's my theory going into this movie, but I could be completely wrong. But there are other side heroes in this movie, like Guy Gardner's Green Lantern and Hawkgirl, although I don't know which version of Hawkgirl now off my head, but one of them.
Hawk. Get that K in there, pal. That's all I do. Bad. Teaching kids to do that. Sounds like you said hawk.
Enunciate.
With a T.
We got our things.
Anyway,
I like birds.
let's. I don't even remember if it was on the notes, but I think this is an interesting conversation to talk about with another major studio and their superhero issues.
Okay.
Is Sony. So Craven has absolutely bombed like we knew it would. People are making fun of the Rhino as we knew they would. But apparently their credits, he's all over the trailers and the marketing. So yeah.
Didn't check it. Didn't even look.
They like their credits is like an homage to all these bad DC side like villain movies they've made, and it's all like bloopers of like Madam Web and Morbius and Craven,
like
and
3.
And they've pretty much said it's done. We're not doing it anymore. We're just focused on Spider-Man in our conversations with Marvel about it because they're all bad and they have only gotten worse.
Yeah, Venom lovers, you did this.
It's true.
You did this.
And Venom is the only one, though, that has, like, the case to make sense. Venom is an anti-hero. Like, you can make a movie about him and it can work. Clearly, they've made 3. But Craven, Morbius, like, Madam what are we doing here? Madam Web?
I can't believe that got greenlit. No one likes Madam Web. Even when she was a staple
Madam Web.
In the
I liked her. In that show you're about to talk about. I liked her.
No, she is.
I always thought she was kind of a hot granny, to be honest. As a young pubescent kid, I was like, all right, granny, what are we doing here? Send your webs birds. My way.
Alex likes older women. No, I disagree.
No, I did. Hey.
No, hey. Mazel tov. Good
well, you're yelling that no one did, and somebody's blatantly telling you to your face that they kind of liked her.
Comment section, back up Alex. How about that? Let's see the love for Madam Web. Let's see it.
All right. Hey, the only reason to have Madam Web ever in one of your movies ever is an Into the Spider-Verse situation.
Yeah.
Where he is jumping around so much that she grabs him out and says, "Let me help you get back where you need to be." Like, that's it. And that very well could have been the plot of the next Spider-Man movie, which they
There's
also
just-
said outside of that Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse, like the animated Miles Morales Spider-Verse movies and the Spider Noir series they're making with Nicolas Cage, or movie, whatever it
right.
is. That's the only thing they're focused on at this point.
Back
So-
to square one. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I am not sad by this news at all. That is absolutely fine.
They wasn't there along with the news that I thought I heard that Marvel had kind of made a bit of an agreement with Sony about that they were going to do a little bit of both for this new movie, that it was not going to be necessarily super grounded back in New York, but it wasn't going to be like a big multiverse movie, that it was kind of be something in the middle.
We'll see.
Maybe he goes to another universe and then has the grounded story. That's the compromise. Like we'll do it here. You see those?
Yeah.
You see the image of Pedro Pascal
No.
went viral
what's
the
that?
other day? Is Reed
No.
Richards?
No, I guess I'll look it up now.
Hey, Madam Web, old man Pedro, they just do it for me.
I think the Pedro Pascal one is
Elite casting.
fair. No,
If Madam Web is played by Dakota Johnson, I think we can all agree that Madam Web is attractive at that point, Kyle. If Dakota Johnson's,
Okay.
if the movie had anything, it had at least beautiful ladies playing the characters.
Hey, I think you are stating what we're all thinking. I don't see a picture, but I'm also just doing a quick Google search. So,
You probably
maybe you'll just send
it on the web.
Yeah, maybe just send it to me later. But hopefully, it looks good. Yeah, I don't know.
It was just like a little behind the scenes or whatever. But I think Fantastic Four is gonna. I think it's gonna be big. I think it's gonna reset a lot in the universe.
I do have hopes.
I
for
think
that.
it's gonna make a lot of people feel better about Marvel, including ourselves.
That Comic-Con teaser. I really hope that that's the teaser they use for whenever they release like the first public announcement of it, because I do think it feels different. It doesn't feel like the same old structure of most of their trailers before, and I think in a time to where everything feels like the McDonald's same old, like you need to go out the gates with something a bit different. So I hope
you
they
need
do.
to. This
I thought
is
that it
like,
looked neat.
if we're gonna keep the fast food analogy, like this is Pizza Hut buying KFC and making them together. You know what I mean? It's like nobody will know that it's still Pizza Hut, but
right,
because we're selling fried chicken. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Marvel's got nothing but Cap in January, right? Or February, very early Feb.
Captain America in February. I think Thunderbolts is in May, I want to say, and then Fantastic Four is in July. That sounds
Gotcha.
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fantastic Four is next year. I have another Marvel thing let's talk about, because I can talk about Wicked and you can review the 8 movies I haven't heard of, but we could also keep the Marvel train going.
Let's keep the Marvel train going. Let's hold off on doing movie reviews for the next episode, because I do have to dip out here pretty soon.
Fair enough.
Let's just cap it off with more Marvel.
The Marvel stuff. Did I just lose the thought?
Well, if you're thinking about it, I just want to mention that Thunderbolts teaser, or the latest trailer that they showed, was too long, but actually didn't look bad.
I
You
think
should check it out.
Thunderbolts
It
will be
wasn't bad.
good. I think Thunderbolts will be fun. I think we're all gonna be like, oh, good Suicide Squad, nice. Like that's gonna be the thought. You're gonna be like, oh, nice. Like it's like the James Gunn Suicide Squad instead of the first one with the remember Cara Delevingne doing a little dance.
Always never forget, Al.
Oh,
never forget.
Haunts my dreams.
Yeah.
What was my Marvel thought? I really liked it.
Did it have to do with Sony or Spider-Man or Fantastic Four?
I think it had to do with
Comic-Con trailers.
Did Comic-Con just happen or something?
No, just because I was mentioning the Fantastic Four Comic-Con teaser. Maybe that's how you were thinking about it, but
no, I don't know. Well, you know what? Since I forgot, let's just like our Wicked Witch, let's defy some gravity and get on out of here. Get Kyle where he needs to go. Okay. So I liked Wicked. But okay, I do have one Wicked take. Let me talk Wicked because I think this would be so cool. I have no idea the story. I've never seen the Broadway play. I've never read the play. I have no idea how it ends. I went in. I also had never seen The Wizard of Oz all the way through. I had seen enough clips. I had seen enough clips that I had definitely seen 85% of the movie. There was only a handful of scenes I had not seen or actually like fully paid attention to. I watched it before I saw Wicked. I think spoilers for Wicked. Is that okay, Kyle? Slight spoilers.
Yeah, it's
spoilers
a
for
Wizard
Wicked.
of Oz. Yeah, it's fine.
I think it would be so awesome if they just duped everybody and part 2 is just Galinda murdering all of Oz to get revenge for her friend that has been killed by this little girl from Kansas. I think that would be awesome. All these theater kids just sitting in there, and just all of a sudden she's Avada Kedavraing every single one of them and just taking them out. I think that would be awesome. I'm also Team Dorothy. Get these witches out of here. Well, I'm done. All right. I like the movie a lot. I think the story's great. The actors did an amazing job. But I'm Team Dorothy every day, all day. Dorothy has to walk on this road, Kyle. Mm-hmm. You know how
Yellow.
You know how the Wicked Witch of the West gets to Oz, to the Emerald City?
Flies?
She takes a train, Kyle.
Oh.
She takes a train, Kyle.
Yeah.
Dorothy walked. She walked.
Hey, she had a lesson to learn. You're not going to learn lessons on train.
Please can I spoil a scene in the movie for you, please?
Go for it. It's fine.
Spoilers again if you've seen Wicked, okay? There's one scene that had me laughing hard because it was it was just dumb. Mm-hmm. There's a scene where Jeff Goldblum as the wizard is showing off to the Wicked Witch and Galinda that he wants to build a road right to him. And they pick the color. They pick the color of the road. And they go through and they pick the color and they're like, I just like yellow. And it's supposed to be funny and like just kind of cute, I think. Like that's the point. Okay. But I'm sitting here like, look, this movie is almost 3 hours. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. We're towards the end. I've watched 2 hours of this smart, educated, beautiful woman. This Wicked Witch. Okay. Elfie as Galinda called her. Mm. You're telling me she didn't sit back and go, wait a minute, Oz. You're going to get rid of the train for a road? My guy, what?
It's whimsical.
We invented the train before the road, but we don't have automobiles yet, and you want to go backwards, my guy? You want to go backwards?
We are not going back.
Get out of here. I was laughing. I was like, what is this scene? We're going back. She took a train to get there. I'm Team Dorothy. I really am. I'm not about walking, okay? Get Dorothy down there. Get them witches under some houses. Get them out of Oz.
To be fair, when you're on the road, it's faster if you skip and dance rather than walk, which is
true.
What they did. So,
it's true. That's why when you see those people on the sidewalk doing that today, you get out of the way. You know what I mean?
Right. By the way, how rough is that 3-hour runtime? Because I'm going to see it with Mother next weekend.
It wasn't that bad. No, it wasn't that bad. I liked the movie quite a bit. Yeah, I had a fun time.
It's paced fine? Okay.
I mean, I like musicals. If you don't like music, I mean, I felt the runtime a bit, but I wasn't like, oh my God, when are we getting to the end? Like,
right. No, I'm pro musical, but even for 3 hours for part 1 of a story, quote unquote, I just think that's wild, but hopefully I have a good time with it.
If part 2 is also 3 hours,
yeah.
My guy, did we write a second play to add on to the first book we're adapting here? What are we doing?
This could be a Hobbit situation real quick. So
yeah, but it's the biggest movie of the year. It's so big that it's going to make it that this movie doesn't end, that this year doesn't end as the first year in history where all sequels or properties based on a former IP, big movie IP. I don't think you can count Wicked, even though it's a huge Broadway play. I don't think it would count in that scenario. It's going to change it where it won't be the first year where that happens.
That's a little grim, huh? Right?
If it happened, but it's not going to happen.
Right, but like,
I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. That can be another talk, though.
Yeah, let's hold off on that. Let's do that next week.
You got to get going. You got to defy gravity here.
I got to defy gravity and.
All right, guys, what do you think? Comment below. Let us know. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Comment if you are Team Dorothy or if you just think I'm crazy. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.